Hey everyone, welcome to today's video. Welcome to the Gaming Daddy channel. Today we're going to be looking at some of the RPG-esque elements in Marvel's Avengers, but we're going to be looking at it from the perspective of the skills for specific characters. Now, on my radar here, I have Miss Marvel, and she, I think, is going to make a very, good example on what we should expect when it comes to skills within the game. Now, you've seen these from the different, reveals and teasers and all of that. But what I wanted to do was I wanted to just take my time to go through as many of the skills that are possible that we can take a look at here on the beta. So bear with me. We're not going to be able to see them in real combat, but there is a little kind of a demo of each of the skills, and we're going to talk about them. So fasten your seatbelts, grab your popcorn. This is like it's going to be a longer video, if you get what I mean. All right, so she does have light attacks, heavy attacks, ranged attacks, and intrinsic abilities under a primary level of skills. Now, I think, and this is my thinking, that we may have other levels of skills that come along for each character. If you notice, there's an L2 and an R2 inscription on the top here, but I think because this is the beta, we don't have any more. I think we're only limited to just this categorizations of skills. So under her light attack, she has basically a fly swatter, and you just basically press square or whatever your your button combination will be depending on the platform you're playing with, and it gives you a full inscription of everything. If you push square rapidly, basically 6 times, you'll be able to gain a combo. And don't worry, the game has some sort of an auto tracking functionality that will track your enemies depending on where they are, and you should be able to hit them even if they're not in the camera view. But you can also compensate by changing the camera directions as well if you want to make sure your combos receive perfect hit contact with enemies. And so you get your damage increase per hit. Pretty much the impact is low, stun is medium, reactions from enemies kind of a light normal knockback depending on what you're activating too, because she does have some other cool specials. So if you maybe have her have a special that she's already activated, then you might not get you might get a better knockback or whatever, better melee action from it. So this is also Flying Fists. This says when you're in the air, so pretty much while in midair, press square to perform an aerial light combo, light attack. And if you rapidly press square 3 times, or depending on the button you're using, if you're playing on Xbox, I think it's gonna be X. If you're playing on PC, that might be another button configuration to combo a series of light attacks that can target airborne enemies. The last hit of the combo is a light combo finisher that inflicts significant damage and knocks enemies back. The impact is low and it has a normal knockback. So everything here pretty much is going to be having, is going to be in the low category. You also have, while sprinting, you press square to perform a jumping kick. This is basically a whirling wallop. This says hold square to leap upwards while unleashing a flurry of uppercut swings that launches enemies in midair. Now, one of the really cool things you have to notice about this is in the little demo, it does affect when you do it. You can actually break the defensive shield of enemies. These enemies that have defensive shields, you have to watch out for them. If you go with regular attacks on them, they're not going to respond. They're actually pretty, they're pretty well buffed up to be able to resist your attack. So this is a skill that I would say you might want to get initially, because you're going to see these fools coming at you as well. And this also is a launcher. So if you're trying to do your combos, or as you're trying to kind of, maybe do crowd control, you probably can target one of these enemies, launch them. They're on the ground. They're going to have to recover. And then you can take the fight to other enemy NPCs around you. This is your double down kick. I actually did this, which is weird. Oh, I don't remember if I did. I take that back. But it seems like I saw that happen. Maybe I saw it in some other video or whatever. But you actually have to, you actually basically have to unlock it. And this is a slam, and it breaks a block as well. Why did that one not say it breaks a block? Okay, it does break a block. Yes, it does tell you that it will break a block. So while holding a square in midair, break through enemy guard with downward kicks. Now, this is definitely something that I would recommend as well. Now, when you're fighting, one of the things I've noticed with Kamala Kahn and a lot of the others that I played Iron Man. Iron Man, you have to kind of like suspend in the air. She can jump and she can do attacks from the air, and also Hulk as well can do it. And if you level this up, you can jump in the air while kind of keeping yourself a little bit safe from enemy NPCs, and you can break their attacks if you can break their guard if they're using a shield. So this is going to come in handy for people who are trying to go, maybe flawless combo runs or whatever. And then she has a leg sweep, which also, while dodging, press square to perform a far-reaching sweep that trips all nearby enemies that aren't attacking or blocking. Pretty solid move right there, man. I think she's well designed. I know I've seen people say things about, oh, Miss Marvel, blah, blah, blah. I'm like, yo, you need to play this game for yourself and see what they've actually done. And you'll be quite impressed when you're in combat as to what's going on. Now, these are her heavy attacks. Heavy attacks are, activated by the triangle button here, and I think Y on Xbox, depending on what you're playing. If you're playing on a keyboard, that will probably be different. She has a 5-finger fury. This is the one that I really like. I use it to do combos. Just push triangle, 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 and everything there is getting a slam, a launch, and a knockback. And it's really good too, because Kamala Kahn doesn't really need to be close to the enemies to be able to hit them. I think that's one of the things that makes her really unique. Unlike when I played with the Hulk, you kind of have to be, his arms are kind of short, so there has to be, proximity there. But Kamala Kahn, on the other hand, no, she just, from wherever she is, she can basically knock an enemy. And I think as she gets stronger, she's going to be one of those huge and good crowd control characters that you can have. Then moving on to the next heavy attack. This is basically a hammer and strike. This is the one I did that I confused with the one that she does the lat attack. Sorry, folks. I thought that was the one I did. This is the one that I already did, and it's an aerial heavy attack. While you're in the air, just pretty much hold your heavy attacks, and she's going to do this. It launches an enemy, slams them, and it has a medium impact as well. Then she has a double wheel, a spinning heel strike. I don't have this one activated yet, but if you hit, square 5 times and then you chain it into a heavy attack, then she does actually slam with the heel. Pretty solid move. I like the way that's been designed. And then a double barrel punch. Basically, you charge up a triangle. This can also break a block as well. I think if you hold a triangle, you can break every block in the game so far that I know. I mean, haven't progressed too far, but it's basically what I'm seeing. And then if you also do it in the air, while it's a hammer fist, hold triangle while in midair to wind up a powerful punch that breaks through enemy defenses. I hope you guys aren't bored yet. We still have range attacks to go through. So I told you, grab your popcorn. Now, if you're sprinting, you hold triangle. You're going to do a sprinting to basically drop an enemy. It's kind of a slide. This is also in Batman. I don't know if you guys are Arkham players. If you're running and then you slide, you can basically trip enemy NPCs. So I guess someone decided in this design team, hey, we need something like this. So pretty cool. Press triangle. This is a catapult kick. After performing a battering ram, attack to kick forward, launching enemies away with incredible force. Pretty cool. And then after performing a hammer fist attack, rapidly press triangle 4 times while airborne to combo a series of heavy attacks that deal increasing stun damage with each hit. Now, there are huge mechs. Now, she's just fighting regular enemies here, but as you start to progress, I've dealt with these huge mechs. They're huge mechanical robots, and they're very strong. They have a lot of stamina. So anything that can make them stagger or make them get stunned or whatever that you can get from heavy attacks, I encourage you to look into those because they will most likely help you and save your character. And I can see the grind being so long and worth it in this game, man. This is a heavy dodge attack. Press triangle while dodging to launch forward with a powerful shoulder charge that knocks enemies off balance and to the ground. That's pretty cool. And then iron spike. So basically press triangle and additional time at the end of the nail gun combo to perform a heavy attack combo. So knockback, all that good stuff that comes with it. All right, ranged attacks. This is what makes it really cool. You can stand in a position and you can hit an enemy NPC. Now you might wonder, why is this even important? Well, awesome question there. I asked it for you. If you're in a location, the way this game works, you might have to stand in a proximity to be able to allow for Jarvis to do something. And you can stand in that position if you don't want to move too far and you want Jarvis to maybe help you meet an objective. All you do is just aim and, hit an enemy from distance. You can use it to knock enemies that are hovering, say maybe like all these robots that are flying in the air trying to hit you. And then she has a crushing grasp, which is basically where you just hold square and you're able to grab the enemy. You can do this with the Hulk too, but you kind of have to be close to him as well. So you also drain intrinsic energy when doing this. What intrinsic energy is, I'm yet to find out. And then you can also do this where you basically harpoon, hold R2 while during a whip fist, attack to grab and hold standard sized enemies, and then you use your right joystick to move them, to move the target around, then release to throw them. This is also a medium damage level, but it's also pretty cool to be able to do. And then you have a nutcracker. That's what it's called, basically. While holding onto a grabbed enemy, press triangle to reel them and slam them into the ground, dealing damage to nearby enemies. Hulk has something like that as well, too. She just has a much more polished version. And then your grip strength, basically 50% less intrinsic energy while holding grabbed enemies with a harpoon. And then an aerial strike. This says while holding onto a grabbed enemy in midair, press triangle or square to slam them into the ground, dealing damage to nearby enemies. And then a panic button. Slamming enemies creates a radial pulse of damage based on the type of enemy being slammed. Enemies with special damage types inflict matching status damage. So that's pretty cool. That is what RPG games are supposed to be. And then finally, we're in her intrinsic ability territory. These abilities are actually pretty cool because, you know, I don't know how to explain it. So let me just go through them. So press and hold R2 to bend and twist out of the way of basic attacks. Morph in size and strength by holding R2 while morphed. Attacks inflict damage, increase damage and impact. So using the ability drains intrinsic energy, which slowly regenerates over time. These abilities are designated and character specific. They don't have room to be generic, if you get what I mean. They're well designed and they actually allow for some real fun advanced gameplay as a character. This is your hip check. It's an intrinsic ability as well. Press R2 just before an attack hits to dodge and parry the strike. This ability can be used even if all intrinsic energy is depleted, not effective against unblockable attacks, and it does some medium stagger damage to the enemy. And then you have your Whirlwind Attack. This is pretty much one that breaks blocks. So while polymorph is active, hold down square to spin around and hit all enemies nearby. And this skill can also be used while embiggened. I think when she's embiggened is when she's basically like, when she changes, when she morphs and she's huge. Press triangle immediately. This is her palm strike after parrying an attack to trigger or a high stun damage attack that breaks through enemy defenses and can slam enemies into the ground. So basically this breaks blocks. And one of the things you want to understand is these enemies that have blocks, they will be chipping out your health. So if you want to upgrade, if you want to get some of your intrinsic abilities going and upgraded, it would definitely be a smart choice to go for. And then your shining wheel basically is you just buffing some of those intrinsic attacks. It buffs your shining wheel. And then this is your seismic slam. Boom, basically a slam attack that breaks blocks, launches enemies, and while you're polymorph, you just hold down triangle, and this is basically going to trigger it. And then your no surrender ability basically is an intrinsic ability upgrade and reduces your cost for your Whirlwind by 60% and reduces your intrinsic cost by Seismic Slam by 25%. Now, for those of you who are, you know, I don't know, interested about the RPG nature of this game, I made this video and read out almost all these primary skills for your sake. Now imagine if they add a secondary layer of skills or even another layer after that, that provides for a lot of leveling up, a lot of powerful building of your character, and you could just focus on one character at a time, or you can just spread your time around developing multiple characters as you go along the game. But if anyone is questioning if there are RPG elements in this game and stats and all that stuff that you have to worry about, I don't think that's a question. I mean, you have this that's going to be spread across multiple heroes, and I'm sure that many RPG players are going to enjoy this game. So thank you so much for watching the video. I appreciate you guys' time and audience. Hope this provided some clarity and this is helpful. Maybe even shifting your decision to purchase the game even much more. Anyways, hopefully we'll see in matchmaking. We'll see when the game comes out or in an open beta. And I'm glad to answer your questions in the comment section. If I know the answer, if I don't, I'll say I don't know. Thank you very much for your time and audience. And hopefully we'll see in another video. Peace.